What does the Bible say about the Sabbath? Should Christians keep it, or is an outdated Jewish law confined to the domain of the Old Testament? Well, there are two approaches to this discussion. The first is the Sabbath required to keep? That's one. And the other is the Sabbath helpful to keep? That's the other. Well, I think that both are significant. I often felt like Jesus' emphasis was on the latter. He says in the Gospels that the Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. See, Jesus' focus was that the Sabbath isn't just a rule to follow, but a gift to receive. A divine prescription for rest, for renewal, for reconnection with God. And let's be honest, life in the 21st century is a whirlwind. We're constantly bombarded with notifications, deadlines, and the relentless pressure to perform, to do more, to be more, to achieve more. It's like we're kind of stuck in this endless cycle of production, chasing after this elusive finish line that never seems to get any closer. But amidst the chaos and busyness of the modern world, there's actually a divine invitation to step off of the wheel to embrace God's rhythm that's been embedded in the very fabric of creation. And it's called the Sabbath. It's of such significance that God actually included it in the Decalogue, or what's known as the Ten Commandments. In Exodus chapter 20, verse 8 through 11, the Bible says, "Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work, but the seventh day is a Sabbath to the Lord your God. On it you shall not do any work, not you, your son, your daughter, your male servant, or your female servant, or your livestock, or the sojourner who is within your gates. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that is in them, and he rested on the seventh day. Therefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and made it holy." Notice the Bible tells us that God himself rested on the seventh day after creating the world. And it wasn't because he was tired, but because he wanted to establish a pattern for us, his children. He knew that we weren't designed to run on empty, to burn the candle at both ends, to constantly push ourselves to the limit. The Sabbath then is a sacred pause, a time to disconnect from the demands of the world and to reconnect with God as creator. It's a day to rest our bodies, to refresh our minds, and to rejuvenate our souls. It's a day to celebrate God's goodness, to express our gratitude for his provision, and simply to enjoy his presence. See, the Sabbath isn't just about taking a break from work or catching up on sleep. It's actually about entering a different rhythm of life, a rhythm that is slower, more intentional, more attuned to God's heartbeat. It's about shifting our focus away from productivity to presence, from achievement-oriented to adoration. In a world that's constantly telling us to do more, to be more, to achieve more, the Sabbath is a radical act of defiance. It's like a declaration that we're not defined by our accomplishments or achievements, but by our relationship to God. It's a reminder that our worth isn't in what we do, but in who we are, children of God, created for divine rest and relationship. So let's reclaim the Sabbath and see it as a protest against consumerism, a protest against capitalism, a protest of this world's way of governance. Let's make it a non-negotiable part of our lives. Let's put away our phones, put away our devices, rid ourselves of the endless distraction of notifications that bombard us from time to time. And let's spend sacred time and pause and reflection over what God has done in his provision, in his sustenance, in his creation, in his world. Let's pause and enter a time of sacred rest to be with God, not simply to do and produce for him. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments.